Welcome back to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. We're brought to you by Yak Gadget. For all your kayak fishing accessory needs, go to yakgadget.com. Pelican cases, coolers, and lighting. Go to pelican.com. The 153 Bait Company. For all your hard and soft bait needs, go to the 153anglers.com. Now let's get this show started.
Ladies and gents, welcome back to the final cast. I'm one of your hosts, Josh.
And I'm the other idiot, Brad.
Hi, Brad.
Hey, what's up?
Brad's having some tooth pain, y'all. He's got to go to the dentist. He's got to get his tooth pulled.
Yeah, dude, it has been – I'm not going to bore anybody, but this whole process, trying to get in because of all the shutdowns last year, has been a pain in the ass.
Yeah, everything's backed up. Sometimes you got to really, though, like sometimes they'll just treat it as like, oh, okay, whatever. But sometimes you got to like really push it and be like, you know what, this is really starting to affect my life. I ain't got time to wait. So
yeah, and that's what I said. I called another office today. I was like, you guys don't understand. It freaking hurts. I need to get it done.
Yeah, dude, I know how that feels. I've had a lot of dental issues because of riding BMX bikes and motocross and skateboards, and I did a lot of damage to my teeth, needless to say, and so I know what that feeling is. There's nothing worse than cracking a tooth like completely in half and having that nerve exposed to like cold air.
Yep, I've done that before.
So how did you break your wisdom tooth?
I don't know. It just cracked.
Yeah, maybe you had a cavity or something in it, and it just broke.
I know. Yeah, we like bad enamel runs in my family. So.
Yep. And do you drink soda?
I used to. I don't really drink it anymore.
Yeah, but coffee can be acidic, I think, right?
Yep, I drink coffee every morning.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know. It's one of those things. Some people have those issues. Some people don't. I don't. I have exceptionally strong. I'm on the opposite spectrum of you. I have exceptionally strong enamel to the point that I could go to the dentist and it not be several years, and they barely have to clean my teeth.
Wow, that's nice.
Because like my enamel's so tough and like it does, like plaque doesn't stick to my teeth very easily.
Yeah.
Now my teeth do stain because I am a coffee drinker. Unfortunately, I use dip, and so that has kind of reared its ugly head a little bit. I need to do some teeth whitening and quit chewing. So I don't drink enough coffee to probably stain my teeth. I drink like 1 cup a day.
Yeah, me too.
Like one decent one, but I'm not an all-day drinker of coffee, and I drink a ton of water. So, but
yep.
But I don't know. Brad and I have, like we've been talking about, it's been hard to find some episodes this week. We've been reaching out to companies and stuff like that, and sometimes we get responses, sometimes we don't. And lately, it's been a lot of no response backs. So, no fault to any company or anything like that. It's just it tends to kind of happen like that towards this part of the season when the shopping stuff's getting ready to ramp up, and it's hard for them to get back and have the time to deal with doing a podcast or whatever. So we're just going to talk about some top products from this past year. Brad's got a bunch. I ain't going to have very much to share just because I didn't fish a lot this year. But I don't know. Maybe I'll revisit some stuff that we've talked about in the past or whatever. So,
yeah,
Brad, you want to start us out?
Well, I was going to say, even if you don't really have any products, we can always highlight something that caught your interest this year. And
for sure.
Just whatever.
Start us out, bro.
Well, dude, this year, you were like, oh, crap, he doesn't have anything to say.
It's like you just told me you had all this stuff to say.
Yeah, I know. It's just this year I completely redid my whole arsenal of rods and reels. So I was just gonna talk about that a little bit.
That was fun. That was cool.
What's that?
I said that was fun. That was cool. Like You know, you went from having like random shit, you know, like
Yeah.
I mean, that's not to give you a hard time by any means, because you know, if you find something you like, use it, man. Who cares?
Yeah.
I'm just weird that I'll stick to something, you know, stick to a
Mhm.
brand like my like with clothing. I'm just weird like that, man. I'll find something that I like and I wear the shit out of it, you know.
Mhm.
So, you know, mine's always been Fenwick, but you had a wide variety of rods and reels.
I had a 13 fishing rod, which hated it, sucked. Fenwick HMG, that was probably my favorite one I had. I had a couple of those actually. Abu Garcia villain rod, and ended up breaking during a tournament in Indiana last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I was down to Ned Rig rod, and I don't know. There's like a couple more brands that I had, but I just wasn't super happy with any of them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I like the Fenwick HMG, but I was just like, $100 rod, you're not going to get that sensitivity.
Yep.
So when I finally picked up one of Brian's Douglas rods and he let me use it, I was like, holy crap. Because these rods are like 189 for the LRS and 289 for the X Matrix.
Yeah.
So I was like, holy crap, dude. I can feel every little rock. I could never do this before with my Fenwick HMG. This is crazy.
Yeah.
So that was probably the biggest upgrade that I've had for 2021 was the LRS rod and the X Matrix. I love that, especially the X Matrix. That thing's awesome.
Yeah, man, those are some seriously nice rods, with a really good price point too. You know, like it's I was impressed when I haven't seen them in person, but you know, from all the stories that I've heard, talking to Bailey, talking to you, talking to Brian, you know, and anybody else who's I know that Armando's a big fan of them. Obviously, he's on their pro staff. You are now, Brian is, and it's you guys have all been raving about it, man. I haven't really heard anything negative by any means.
Yeah. And it's funny because the first time Brian put it in my hands, he was just smirking at me. And he was just like, hold this. I'm like, okay. I'm like, picked it up. It's like, holy crap, this thing's light.
Yeah.
And he did the same thing with Matt Gibson. Matt Gibson has one or two maybe now, I think. And he's like, yeah, that's some awesome rods. I like them.
Yeah. I mean, you know, when you get up in that $300 range, you know, it is a big difference, you know. And that like you said, how light, how sensitive they are, because it's funny. I have a like a heavy action 7'6" Fenwick world class rod, and that's their like 299 rod, and it weighs I think less than my 7-foot medium heavy Fenwick. That's just the elite bass one. It feels like it, you know what I mean? That elite bass one feels kind of like a broomstick, you know, compared to it. But I like that. I really like my elite bass rod from Fenwick, because it's like I throw like chatterbaits on it, and you know, like I don't know, I just like the sort of like the heaviness to be able to rip those baits through the grass.
Yep.
Like that. And I use that a lot on the rivers when I start throwing like weighted swim baits and stuff like that. I don't know, for some reason I really liked it, dude. And to tell you the truth, it was hilarious when I caught all those really nice bass on the that white popper, that tournament that I did, that river tournament, or when I fished the river, I threw that
on the big rod. Dang, that's crazy.
And it worked flawlessly. I don't know why. It was weird. I mean,
is it a fast action?
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
I think it is. And what's funny though is like, I mean, that popper is not a small one. It's a decent size. It's like a 3.5, maybe 4-inch one. So it's got weight to it. So I mean, I can throw that thing a country mile with that rod and that reel setup. So
that's sweet.
But
I know I have one of the Labina Lures Ricos, and I throw it on like a 7-foot medium fast or 6'10" extra medium light. It's
Yeah.
real fun on that thing. But
Yeah.
those Ricos are smaller than what you're talking about, though.
Yeah. But so the Douglas rods, man, I know you've been a big, huge fan of it. They're sharp too. They look really nice.
They look good, yeah. The that shade of blue and then the gray. Obviously, gray is my favorite color. I think I've said that plenty of times, but those two colors together, they look really good side by side.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that's probably my top upgrade for the year for sure.
So what is your favorite thing about the rod series? Just the sensitivity difference?
Oh yeah, sensitivity and the EVA foam. So I've never really used a rod with EVA foam. I've always used cork. I just really like the feeling of it. It's nice and soft, and I don't know, it feels good in my hand.
Nice. All right.
You're gonna make a joke there, weren't you?
I was going to, but I didn't.
It's all good. I knew it.
Oh, sorry. I'm tired. My mind's in the gutter. I don't know. Like I said before, I didn't really buy a lot this year. Everybody knows that I was in the Killer HD last year, and that's what I was in this year as well. So it just changed the color of the battleship. So that wasn't anything different. Trying to think of any like baits that I got. I did fish this year a little bit at the beginning of the year, and I had a lot of fun with it. Was throwing the Vision 110 Junior.
Oh yeah.
I didn't catch any fish with it. I didn't fish it that much, but I wanted to try that out. I bought that actually last year when we were up in the Lake Erie area, when it was like me and Mike and Brandon and Dylan and his brother Braden, and we went to that fishing store up there. What's that one up there? Oh gosh, I just forgot the name of it. They used to sponsor one of the BKFT.
Fisherman Central.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. They had a new store up there, dude, and it was huge. And like the store's so big for just fishing stuff. Like it was unreal. And it was only like a quarter full. And so we bought, we were like kids in the candy shop. I think in that little like shopping trip, and we were just there to buy a couple baits, ended up being like $500 between all of us.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Mega bass though, man, they're expensive.
Yeah. And I bought that, and I bought some dark sleepers, some more Kitechs, and bought a bunch of stuff I didn't really need.
Yeah.
But the Vision 110 Junior was one that I bought, and it's a sharp looking lure. I'm excited to try to get some more time out on the water. I need to get out there now when it's cold.
I was about to say, man, right now.
Yeah, and it's a smaller profile, but yeah, it's pretty sharp. That's probably one of my favorite things I bought this year.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up jerkbaits because that was going to be one of my things too. I'd never thrown one until this fall, actually. I went and got a Lucky Craft pointer though, 100 SP. Well, I take that back. When was that? Beginning of October, I started throwing the KVD 100s because my buddy lent me one. He was smashing them. I mean, I was throwing the big Joshy, and he was probably catching fish on the jerkbait like 4-1.
Oh, really?
So I was like, "You got another one of those?"
Who were you fishing with?
His name's Will Jones. He's from Troy area.
Okay.
I met him on Instagram. We met up and fished. But yeah, he was killing it. I was like, "Give me one of those, dude. I want to try one." So I ended up trading him one of my Witty crankbaits for it, which I know it's not an even trade, but I didn't really care. I was just like, you'll like that. It's wake bait. So I ended up throwing the KVD 100, and I caught fish with it. I was like, they are nailing this jerkbait. This thing's a lot of fun. I never really knew how fun it was,
Yeah.
So
it's crazy when you start throwing those baits to match up with the season, and you're like, man, what have I been doing this whole time? Because you know about it too.
Yeah.
Right. And you're like me, you get stubborn like in your ways, and you're like, I'm just going to throw what I know, because you have that comfort level and you know what the bites feel like. And it's not that you don't have baits for those seasons. It's just that you're the kind of guy that you're so comfortable, say, throwing a Ned rig. That'd be hard to get the Ned rig out of your hands at this time of year. You know what I mean? So, and then you're also like me, you hate losing expensive lures, and jerkbaits are one of the top priced ones up there. So
yeah, I lost 2 recently. So I lost the Lucky Craft pointer and a X-Rat the same day. And I take that back. I lost a Spro Lil John the same day. So it was like a really expensive trip.
yeah, it's not. That's what fishing is, man. It gets to be pricey when you start messing around with some of those lures, because some of those lures are expensive for a reason. It's not necessarily always about their quality. It's about the popularity too. You know, I mean, they are built better, usually have better hooks and things like that. But still, even at that, like I know a lot of people that go and replace Megabass hooks, you know.
So I've been exclusively throwing that Lucky Craft pointer for probably the last 3 or 4 weeks, maybe. I haven't even touched the Ned rig, dude. I've been throwing the jerkbait because I've been having so much fun with it, and I've caught a couple 19s and 18 with it all within the last month. So it's been fun.
I've got actually I don't have a ton. You should see Dylan's collection.
Oh, I believe it.
Have you heard about like his obsession with buying Megabass Vision 110s, like the JDM ones that aren't here? And it's crazy. And he's got quite the collection. I have more jerkbaits than I should have because I don't throw them that often, but I have some nice Lucky Craft ones and stuff like that from when I used to do the MTB box. Lucky Craft was one of their big suppliers, and but I think I have couple cool 6 cents ones. I think I might try next year's doing a 6 cents box. Brian was always impressed with their baits and stuff like that. And if you want to get into like throwing, well, they're mixing it up more now. Back then it was they were, you got the hard baits and all kinds of cool crank baits and deep diving cranks, mediums, lows, whatever. But so we both which crankbait you say that Lucky Craft's your favorite one?
Jerkbait?
Yeah,
the Lucky Craft for sure. So I've thrown that, the KVD 100, and the X-Rat over the last few months, and Lucky Craft's definitely my favorite. It's a bigger profile too. It's a 4-inch jerkbait, and it like a really fat looking compared to the other. The other's long and slender.
Trying to think. What else you got?
I upgraded all my reels as well, so that was a big upgrade to me. Switched over to Corrado DC's Stratic FL. I still got some lower end reels. I got a Fluger Supreme and Nasky, Shimano Nasky. But other than that, I've completely upgraded my arsenal. So I know I do have a Shimano SLX too, which is a lower end, but I want to upgrade those. I just don't think it's going to happen in 2022, but that's all right. But dude, the Corrado DC, man, it's kind of changed how I throw certain baits, I guess you'd say. Like, because before I had trouble throwing like lighter baits, 1/4 ounce or lighter, but I can throw 1/4 ounce, 3/16 with that thing, and it's not too hard.
This is an old thing that I had last year, but still right now it's one of my favorite things that I've bought in the past couple years is going to be or gotten is the Yak Gadget XD crate.
I think you mentioned that last year for this same episode at the end of the year.
Man. So even though I didn't fish though, like a lot this year, every time I had that thing with me, it just constantly reminds me of how awesome it is. When I first saw the crate itself, we were like, hey, that's cool. but you kind of don't really get the full gist of it until you use it and realize, a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's not as much plastic as say the Black Pack, because it's got this slanted profile and everything like that. And I wasn't sure if I liked that or not. Right. And, dude, it's a great thing. It makes figuring out what I'm grabbing so much easier. Like it's, unless you're really like good about your placement of your boxes and where they're at and you can remember it, which is not hard to do, but I would say like once you pulled a box and you're trying to replace it, are you going to be putting it in that same spot? That's where it would be a pain in the butt. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like whether you're going from top to bottom or bottom to top, is it the first, second, third box, whatever. So having that visual and having the ability just to kind of turn around and see exactly what it is that you're grabbing a lot easier than, like a full box that's enclosed
like
with,
reaching into the top.
Yeah. Even with the lid, like, I mean, I was always a fan of the Black Pack lid, even though I know it was loud and stuff like that. And it was kind of, I don't know, a little cumbersome because it had that weird, bungee like system that was attaching it, but I always liked it because I felt like it was, that stuff was going to stay closed, right? If you flipped over or whatever. And with the Yak Gadget box, I was always kind of like, oh, this cover is kind of, weird or whatever to me. Like, is it going to hold this stuff in? In my opinion, it should, and it should hold well.
Heck, I drive with it in the back of my kayak and no issues.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to see like something made eventually as a lid, like a hard top lid, with like a hinge system on it. I think it can be done. I think it would just be a matter of like, like having like an angle to it, you know what I mean? To bring it up and over. But I mean, that's neither here or there, but that's not the reason why I like it. It's made life in tackle, in your tackle management so much easier in my opinion. So
I actually took out the dividers in mine.
Yeah, a lot of people do. So
I like it like that.
I think I have two dividers in mine. The way I have mine set up, I don't carry I haven't put all my tackle together. Like I have, and then here's what I end up doing. So I have big boxes, right? And I have like all my crankbaits in one box, and then all of my jerkbaits, and then all the jigs and whatnot. The jig box is in the Plano Edge box now, and that comes with me. But a lot of times what I will do is pick out my baits and I'll put them in smaller boxes. And when I do that, it gives me room to throw in my spinnerbait box in there and stuff like that. But the problem is then I get all like everything's mixed up. So then it's like, when I go to try to look for something, there's no organization within what I've consolidated into the smaller boxes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I kind of need to take a step back because that is one thing that I do that I think holds me back as an angler. For trying new things, right? Like I could be like, oh man, maybe a jerkbait's good in this, and then I'm like, I got to dig for it. You know what I mean? Because I don't know what box it's. I mean, I'll have an idea what box it's in, but it's not. It's not. I don't have like a bunch
easily
of
accessible.
Yeah, I've got like maybe 3 jerkbaits.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
So, and it's all mixed up, and then like I will. What I'll end up doing is pulling a box, taking a lure out that I want next, and replacing it with the one I'm cutting off.
I do that too. Yep.
So I think what I need to do is maybe get a box or something that's like a catch. And instead of replacing that lure back into the box, I actually take it and put it back where it was supposed to be. You know what I mean? And then get used to where they're at that way.
So what I do now is like I've said before, I've scaled way down on the river this year to where I'm bringing one tackle box and then like my binder of TRDs or
Yeah.
bugs or whatever. I have a one river box, and in that box, I have everything from swim baits. I have 2 jerk baits in there, a finesse jig, some top water lures, anything I would throw on the river. So I don't bring much out there with me. So when I do change something, like if I go from jerk bait to top water, I'll just throw it back in the spot where the top water was.
Yeah. It's a good idea. I've tried to do that. But then it all just gets jumbled together sooner or later. So.
And if I'm on the lake, I bring all my tackle boxes. So I have a separate crankbait box and then jig and chatterbait box. So yeah, but yeah, I know the feeling because I do switch stuff around like that too.
Yeah. So yeah, if you guys are out in the market for a new, tackle management box, definitely check out the Yak Gadget series. They're awesome. They have a lot of cool new products coming soon too, guys. So get on their website, pay attention. You're going to see some stuff in the next couple months that is just going to add to their current arsenal of high quality accessories and stuff, man. A lot of they're really, really good with the management thing of, paddles, rods, your tackle management stuff for your boxes. And, they've got mounts for motors, for, they've got the manual power poles type system. It's awesome. So,
yeah.
Keep on the lookout. John's still innovating. So,
like always, man.
yeah. So, what you got next on the list?
I was just going to talk about some of my top baits for the year. I mean, I didn't know what you had planned, but I know you didn't get to fish that much. But
go ahead.
I don't know. So, seems like most of the year until towards the end of the summer, we had some higher and dirty water on the river. So I didn't get to fish topwater much this year. I was determined to throw the Rico more this year and get better with the popper. It just didn't happen. I threw the buzz bait and the plopper, and it was just a bad year for topwater for whatever reason. I'm guessing water clarity had stuff to do with it,
Yeah.
But since the water clarity was poor for half the year, I was throwing the War Eagle disco lemonade that Mike will teach has coined the phrase of. It's all chartreuse with painted blades. I threw that quite a bit, and I caught a ton of fish on that lure in muddy conditions. And I don't know, it was fun to throw a spinnerbait because it kind of brought me back to when I was younger, because that's spinnerbaits and crankbaits is what I threw going fishing with my dad.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool, man. Just
what were you throwing your spinnerbaits on, and how big?
3/8 ounce on a 7'4" rod, medium heavy.
Yeah.
Fast action. So yeah, man, that was a blast. I had fun. I caught a pike using that lure. I caught multiple saugeye using it. Caught bass using it. It was a good year. I do got to throw in the custom Jigmasters spinnerbait.
Yeah.
With I think it's an Indiana blade. It's not quite Colorado because it's like, it's leaf shaped.
Yeah.
He made me a custom all black spinnerbait with a black painted Indiana blade. And I mean, it was a Magnum, huge blade, and it thumps harder than like a jackhammer.
Yeah.
I had one of the best days on the river using that thing this year in muddy conditions. So,
nice.
Yeah, I ended up losing it like 2 miles down the river. I was so mad. I was like, dude, that spinnerbait was freaking
Did you
sweet.
get snagged on a rock, or
I casted it off somehow. I don't even.
Oh yeah.
I just slung it and it just saw it like sailing away. It's like, oh, sweet. Cody, if you're listening to this, man, I need to get back with you because that thing was awesome. Yeah. He makes some great spinnerbaits.
Let's reach out to him, man.
Yeah, I just haven't had the time yet.
But I've always kept hearing about the black spinner baits with orange blades on them. I'd like
I
to
have
have
one.
somebody make one of those for me.
Cody would probably do it. They sell some
I
at
don't know. I
Fisherman's.
don't want a giant Magnum one though, man.
You know, if you're gonna get like a Colorado blade one, you want something with a lot of thump. You're only gonna throw that in muddy water.
Right. Or at
But
nighttime. I heard they're awesome at night.
yeah, that's one thing I want to try next year. Fishing, especially East River Landing over here by me. I want to try fishing that in the middle of the night in the
Yeah.
summertime.
Oh yeah. What else you got, dude? What other kind of baits? I didn't really throw a lot of everything. I mean, I threw a white top or popper and had that spectacular day, but that's nothing new. I mean, that's a tried and true, great topwater smallmouth lure. So
Yeah. I threw the Tokyo rig in the river quite a bit.
oh yeah, dude, you raved about that all year.
It was fun, man. I don't know, just trying something
became
new.
Japanese this year. He was all about the Tokyo rig. He was
I
like,
got 220s on that thing this year.
I mean, it's really just like a good way of throwing a drop shot in the river that's not going to get destroyed, or you're going to snag it on everything when you think.
Yeah, it's like a drop shot / jig.
Yeah.
So when we went up north, I started throwing that thing, and we were catching some awesome fish on it. I'm like, man, I need to try this in the river. If the smallmouth are hitting it here, they're going to hit it in the river.
Yeah.
I ended up trying it. I found a spot up here that had a super deep drop off, went from like 3 foot down to 18 foot, and I just dragged it all the way down there. I nailed like a 29-inch carp and some smallmouth.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah, it's a cool lure because you can put some weight on it. It doesn't snag very easy on rocks, and
throw a half ounce weight on it. You get to like 25 feet in like 4 seconds. It's pretty quick.
Heck yeah. Yeah, dude, you were a big fan of that. I mean, it was crazy to see throwing it in the river too. Like, you don't really hurt anybody doing that, especially even around here. And you kind of figured out a good technique to throw out there when all its fails and you need to get a bait and keep it pinned just off the bottom,
Yeah,
so
and it's
what were you
nice.
using? What do you like to use as your trailer or as your bait?
Missile Baits Baby D-Bomb. That was a good one. And then the Berkeley Chigger Crawl. That was another good one.
Yeah.
And it was funny because there's this one certain bridge in Dayton, and Justin was casting at it. And I come right behind him with a tow rig, throw it in there and catch a fish.
You should try throwing like a fluke style bait or something like that on it.
I thought about that.
Not necessarily like Kitech, but something with a little bit of a wave to it or something weird like that, like like a good minnow,
like diamond tail or something.
Yeah, anything. I mean, I wouldn't throw something paddle tail at all. You wouldn't need the thump. Because I mean, you really think about that. That bait is actually used technically. It was like a punching style rig.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're gonna bring up. Your bait is gonna be sitting 3 to 4 inches off, about 3 inches off the bottom. It's just gonna look like a bait fish, kind of chilling at the bottom, scooting around a little bit, and I don't think you'd have to really put a paddle tail on it,
Yeah, I don't think
because if you're fishing the bottom and that they're down there, you're going to be going right in front of them,
Yep. I know my buddy Matt, he was throwing the Cinco on it. I was like, that's a good idea. I never even thought about trying that.
Yep. Well, and you're not fishing it quick, you're kind of drag pausing. So
yeah, drag it and then let it sit and then just shake the rod tip. And that's the thing that, like, I picture that bait in the water just going like this when I'm shaking the rod tip, just barely.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Heck yeah. I'm trying to think of anything if I had to add stuff I used. Did I use anything different? You go ahead. I'll think.
There was one more. Big Joshy. That was the other one. I know it's very well known here in Ohio, but if you're not throwing the Big Joshy in other parts of the country, you need to throw it because that thing is amazing.
Yeah. If you're a smallmouth river person in Ohio, especially central Ohio and southwest Ohio, I don't know how popular they are in other places in Ohio, but in our areas, they've been fished and talked about for years now. And they just flat out produce good fish. They have all kinds of different sizes. If you're a river guy, a lot of the guys are fishing the what are they? 2.5s to 3.5s, like in that range.
2 3/4 and 3 1/4.
Yeah,
they got 5-inch ones too, though.
Yeah, but they're not nearly as popular in the river,
right?
As those two sizes are. And guys are throwing them on simple ball-headed jigs up to what did I see Ryan throwing them on? He was throwing them on the Jig Masters. You were throwing them on the Jig Masters.
Dude. That's another product so I was using ball head jigs at the beginning of the year. I switched over to the jig heads, sled heads after I saw Ryan use them. I was like, that's a great idea. My Big Joshy would slide down the ball head jig hook. After I get snagged, I'd do the bow and arrow snap to get it unsnagged. It would rip the back of the Joshy. I'm like, I'm getting tired of this. I'm going through so many Big Joshies because they're soft. Got the sled heads. They have the little corkscrew where you can screw it on.
Mm-hmm.
I have had the same Joshy on the same sled head since I bought the things.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like it lasts 30 times more.
The only issue I have with those sled head jig heads that Cody's making is I'm bending their hooks out a lot. Not completely out, but like a little bit. So,
well, the ball head jigs I was using were Eagle Claw Laser Eye or something, so they were cheap.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not bending them out like bad. It usually comes on snags, so it's kind of given that that's probably going to happen. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, I think when I was using, I was throwing, because I'm throwing like, I think what they got quarter inch. Do they have a 1/8 inch one? I can't remember. I think he does.
I think so.
But I was bending them, but I was also throwing it on a medium heavy action rod. So
yeah,
I was tugging on the shit to get it off there. So, but those are definitely cool baits, and that was one that I did get into throwing to this year. Was not the Big Joshy specifically, but one day I did go out with Ryan. He's like, "Hey, throw these Big Joshies." He's like, and I was like, "Well, guess what, dude? I happen to have some of the Jig Masters ones," and he's like, he got stoked because I had the lighter ones. We needed it because it was one of the days because the river was down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really weird that you said what you said earlier, because like when I was fishing and I would go out, the river was always down and it was clear. And you must have been always going out when it was high and it was muddy, because I was like, what is he talking about, dude? We had this huge drought this year. It was like the river was down like all summer long, like for the most part.
I was talking about before. It was probably June and before, I think.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
It seems like it was just dirty at the beginning of the year.
I mean, it's always like that springtime normally.
Yeah.
But once after June, dude, is like all the way up through till October, we barely had any rain. So
but yeah, now it's it's at a good level and it's super clear. Like even after the rain we got last week, I went out last Saturday. I was like, holy crap.
Did you go out on Sunday? You said you're going to go out in the cold rain.
No, because my tooth ended up hurting real bad. So I was like, yeah, screw it.
If you guys aren't watching us on video, Brad's holding his cheek because his tooth hurts.
Yeah.
All right, let me think. I didn't go very often, so nothing's like popping in my head of something that I used that was different. Any gear, clothing wise? No. Sorry. It was just a very uneventful year. Hopefully I'll have some cool things to talk about next year. I've been pretty lame this year.
That's all good, man. Getting back into the swing of things.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I don't got much else. I just thought we'd talk
Alright.
about some baits and new products and stuff.
Yeah, sorry guys, not the most eventful episode. Like I said, it's that time of year. It gets to be hard to kind of book some of these, especially when we start winding down on our season. We'll be shutting it down. I think our last PNF episode is going to be December 12th, and we'll be down up and through the 3rd or 4th of January. So we got about a 2 to 3 week vacation coming up. So we got one more episode to do. And then that'll be it for the year. I do have like a really cool one. I was trying to get booked before the end of the year for us. I'm just having some trouble getting in contact with them. Like I said, it's a clothing company. Mike, if you're listening, I contacted him, dude. So hopefully we'll get some response back soon. But if not, maybe we can record over the break and we'll have it locked and loaded for next year and start out with a cool one. So Brad, I think you'll like it. I know our river rat buddies around here will love it. It's a really cool idea. So look forward to that one. And anything else, dude?
Nope. I don't know what we got planned next week, but we'll figure something out.
Maybe we can get maybe we'll just do a round table. We'll invite some of our crew on to join us.
We could do that.
Not
Worst
like
products
Paddle
of
Fin. No, I'm
2021.
talking about like some of our buddies around here.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
So, all right. Yep. Everybody, thank you for listening again, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
Yep. See you guys.